What president in the White House has done it for themselves?
The Trump organization is fully integrated into the White House. Well, you mentioned his family.
But the standard that you're saying is that
but
Donald Trump doesn't have anything to do with it. It's his family. So are you saying his family should then not be allowed to do business for the length of time?
But here's the other thing. That's actually not even doing that as a sitting United States president.
$150,000, any president would sit down and have a meal with any donor.
Okay,
we all know that is true.
Who else has done this? Who else has basically said, invest in my family's business, and I will have the president sit down with you, and the president will benefit from this. Who else has done that?
Joe Biden?
Really? Okay. Why can't you just say that it's a problem for Trump?
Because I'm saying that it is something that the American people, including everybody at this table, accepts when it's happening on their side and then doesn't accept when it's happening on the other side.
Okay, so what about you? Does that apply to you?
What do you mean?
I mean, are you one of those Americans who you're mad about it when it happens to the other guy, but not when it happens to your guy?
No, I think that, politicians have a certain level of corruption across the board. Like, that's kind of the name of the game.
So you are mad about what Donald Trump is doing right now?
I don't think that what he's doing is...
Hello, everybody. Guys, let's get right into this panel. I'm actually happy that CNN is making another story about this. These are the kind of stories that stick, and I just think it's worth pounding on it because it's just so exposing. Check this out, and we'll talk about it.
Tonight, a $400 million flip-flop. On the second day of his trip to the Middle East, questions continue to chase President Trump over his decision to accept a 747 as a gift from Qatar. Trump says that only a stupid person would refuse to accept such a gift. But back in 2016, Trump regularly criticized the Clinton Foundation for accepting foreign contributions, including from, you guessed it, Qatar.
Saudi Arabia giving $25 million, Qatar, all of these countries. You talk about women and women's rights. So these are people that push gays off buildings. These are people that kill women and treat women horribly, and yet you take their money.
The Clinton Foundation...
Because you treat them so great, right? The civilly held liable rapists.
...accepted as much as $60 million from Middle Eastern countries that oppress women, gays, and people of different faiths.
My goal is to keep foreign money out of American politics. Hillary Clinton's goal is to put the Oval Office up for sale to whatever country offers the highest price.
So, what changed? A lot of foreign money is flowing.
Well, in fairness, the gift is actually to the State Department. So it's not to President Trump, it's to the State Department.
I thought it was to the Air Force.
It's to the State Department.
No, okay.
And then ultimately would go to the Clinton, or to the Clinton, to the Trump library.
Freudian
to the
slip
Trump
there.
library. And so it's technically not to President Trump. But I get the point. I get the whole gist of what you're saying. We'll see if the State Department approves accepting it or not. But of course, this all goes back to the fact that Boeing can't seem to build a plane, Air Force One, and it's way behind schedule, and he's flying on a 40-year-old plane. So that's part of the issue as well. The Qatar offered it to him, and he said, that sounds like a good idea. We'll see how it plays out.
I mean, A for effort. Listen, first of all, this plane will have to be stripped down to its foundation, which will take years and years and years. And if Donald Trump intends to leave the Oval Office in 2029, which I don't think he intends to, but if he does, in fact, well, according to Steve Bannon, actually, he's going to run and win a third term, so maybe not. But he will not be able to fly in this plane as president. So are we going through this entire exercise? You go to his library. I think we both know that it's not going to go just to his library, that it's going to go for his personal use, regardless of what he says. The bigger problem is that, of course, he also has a crypto fund and a meme coin. And unlike the Clinton Foundation, none of that money is disclosed. And we have no idea how much the state of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, how much Qatar, how much the Russians, how much the Chinese, how much the North Koreans, or anybody is putting in to world financial lenders in which he has a 80% stake. And that is a problem for our national security, because we don't know if these people are simply gifting him a plane, or they're gifting him a plane plus a lot of money to the Trump organization, plus a lot of money to his meme coin collection, plus a lot of money to Melania's meme coin, plus a lot of money to his crypto fund, All of that is not disclosed. So we don't actually know how much for sale Donald Trump really is. And that's a problem.
The meme coin thing is a big deal because, as someone put it today, there's no upper limit on meme coins because they inherently have no value. You can basically say whatever you want about them and pour as much money as you want into them. And in the meantime, it makes Trump and his family wealthy. And by the way, part of this is not just Trump and his family. Steve Witkoff's son is involved in this. So there are a lot of people with official ties tied up in this effort to juice the Trump family pockets with money. I mean, we've never seen anything like this before.
I think that's right. I mean, the majority of the Trump family's wealth now is tied up in crypto rather than real estate. There's the company World Financial Liberty. Donald Trump Jr., Steve Witkoff's son have been, zooming around, drumming up investment for that. I'm actually less worried by the plane. I understand the concerns about that. To me, the kind of pay-to-play issues are far bigger with crypto.
Right.
I mean, crypto, it's amazing what's happened to this industry. It was started by people with libertarian ideas that you could create a new asset class that would be independent of government and divorced from politics. And it has become the ultimate swamp asset if you look at the way in which people are, using crypto to do influence peddling in Washington. It's pretty alarming.
And The Economist has an issue coming out tomorrow.
We do.
On this, right? So everybody tune in for that. I just want to play...
I think he's right about that. Of course, the crypto is much more of a bigger issue, but politics-wise, the plane issue is something that people will just remember so easily. It's just so simple and straight, just blatant. How greedy. Guys, understand this guy's a multi-billionaire. He's the president of the United States. How embarrassing. Buy your own effing plane. But we all have to be put in danger because yet another billionaire wants a toy. Like, just think about that in the context. Higher prices for us because of Trump's tariffs. But more tax cuts for the billionaires. And also, but hey, Americans, you should be buying less dolls. But more jets to the Trumps, right? Unbelievable. And Republicans, like seals, clap, clap, and cheer. You're so cool. You're so tough. You're so strong, Trump. MAGA 2028. Truly brain dead stuff. And then they look around when the smoke has settled and realize their lives are still shit.
Oh, yeah, that's the cover. So, Batya, let me play for what Mike Johnson said about all of these various issues around Trump and, the conflicts that might occur.
The reason many people refer to the Bidens as the Biden crime family is because they were doing all this stuff behind curtains, but in the back rooms. They were trying to conceal it. What President Trump is doing is out in the open. They're not trying to conceal anything.
But, Mr. Speaker, the investment in the meme coin, those folks are not transparent. We do not know who those people are.
I don't know anything about the meme coin thing. I don't know. I can just tell you that, President Trump just had nothing to hide.
So because...
Only a Republican voter will fall for that and say, oh, yeah, sounds like it's true.
Because it's happening out in the open, it's not a problem. I'm having a hard time following that argument.
I don't like the plane. I disagree with you. I think it's a big deal. I don't think there's such a thing as a $400 million gift. It's a bribe. I don't think Donald Trump would do anything in exchange for it, but the Qataris certainly think they will get something out of it. I can admit that. Can you all admit that what he just accomplished in Qatar and in Saudi Arabia, attracting $2 trillion of investment into this country, is a huge deal, and that what he accomplished in his speech, laying out a new world order based on peace through commerce and peace through strength, is a huge deal, that these are gifts to the United States, the likes of which it's very hard to imagine anybody else being able to do. Can we all create a consensus here that the plane is bad and the trip has been amazing for the United States?
It is always great. It is always great when there is, I guess, investment in the United States.
Well,
that is fine. But I really do not want to skirt the issue here, which is that when an Abu Dhabi investment firm or the Saudi sovereign wealth fund decides to pour billions of dollars into a company that exists only because Donald Trump is president and can juice the value of it. Does that concern you?
But Donald Trump doesn't have anything to do with it. It's his family. So are you saying his family should then not be allowed to do business for the length of time?
But here's the other
family that
thing.
he's-
That's actually not even the case either, because
I said this before. To think that bands won't make Trump dance is just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. That's who he is. It's like saying Trump doesn't lie or he isn't a bigot. It's the most complete nonsensical thing. But Baya the brainless needs to defend every little single thing, or else Trump and voters will make sure her life is miserable and will never be allowed to be on TV again. She can't have that. She can't have that happen until the Israel genocide is complete. Right, Baya? These people are so effing vile. I hope Republican voters are seeing this. They don't give an F about you and your well-being and you having a better life and having more money in your pocket. How are you not seeing this? You're getting played. You're getting bent.
Trump is about to do a dinner with people who have invested in his meme coin. Essentially, he is the carrot for people who are investing in his meme coin. And he's doing that as a sitting United States president.
$150,000, any president would sit down and have a meal with any donor.
Okay,
we all know that is true.
We are talking about millions of dollars invested in cryptocurrency that he and his family are benefiting
with
other presidents
when
have
they're on your
other
side.
presidents have done this for the DNC or the RNC or for their
done it for
political defense. They have
themselves.
what
Of course
president?
they
What
have.
president in the White House has done it for themselves?
like,
Name
and
one.
And the Trump
example.
organization is
Every
fully
single
integrated
one
into the
of
White
these.
House.
Who?
Well, you said you mentioned his
So,
family.
but the standard that you're saying is that
Jared Kushner is
they
an
should
ambassador
not be-
right now somehow.
Jared Kushner is
His father.
His father, Jared Kushner.
Sorry, excuse me, Jared Kushner's father.
But wait, what is the analog? Who else has done this? Who else has basically said, invest in my family's business and I will have the president sit down with you and the president will benefit from this. Who else has done that?
Joe Biden?
Really?
Like,
okay.
what?
All right. I think we're getting somewhere here. I guess I'm just wondering if it's bad for Joe Biden to do it. Let's say Joe Biden did that. If it's bad for him to do it, why
you
is
have
it
a problem
okay?
with it when Joe Biden
Listen,
was doing
all I said with the Biden situation is the Republicans had 4 years to come up with the proof. They struggled to do that despite many investigations, despite a special counsel. But if you believe that this is a problem, which I think it's fine to believe that, why can't you just say that it's a problem for Trump?
Oh,
I don't
because
get
I'm
it.
saying that it is something that the American people, including everybody at this table, accepts when it's happening on their side and then doesn't accept when it's happening on the other side.
Okay, so
back
what
to the
about
meme
you?
coin, too.
Does that apply to you?
What do you mean?
I mean, are you one of those Americans who...
Oh my gosh, she's dumb.
You're mad about it when it happens to the other guy, but not when it happens to your
No,
guy?
I think that, politicians have a certain level of corruption across the board. Like, that's kind of the name of the
So
game.
you are mad about what Donald Trump is doing right now?
I don't think that what he's doing is any worse than anything we all accepted
are
as
you mad
normal
about it?
under
So
the
are you-
Biden administration.
'cause
I said I'm very mad about the plane.
But what about the meme coin?
No,
and this
I'm not
is
really worried about the
exactly,
meme
and
coin.
even if you look at the meme coin, this is exactly why Donald Trump is going after Act Blue, to use a deflection from his real corruption that's taking place by letting any sort of foreign investor put money directly into his pocket.
I just want John to talk to me about the
contributions.
scale real quick.
Yeah,
because
And the reason she just said, I'm mad about the plane, which she talked about it for 2 seconds and then tried to talk about how we got $2 trillion, again, with these stupid commitments that we're just never going to get any money from these people. It's all a joke. They placate Trump. They did this the first term. People play around with Trump because he's a fool. I've said this 1,000 times. And by being this, I'm okay with the crypto. The reason she says that is, again, she knows that the average Republican voter doesn't understand even the most simplest thing. They won't understand crypto and how they're getting their own voters are getting the rug pulled under them, and how countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar can put money into that coin that goes directly into Trump and his family's pocket for favors. They just don't understand this stuff, or they choose to act like they don't understand. And about this Biden and Hunter thing, I'm sorry, I'm sick of hearing this crap. Hunter Biden was never held a position in government, was never the president. To think Biden would take Hunter serious, about business dealings or whatever he was doing is nonsense. Like, Hunter had a lot of issues. He had drug problems. Biden obviously wasn't taking this guy serious. Jim Comer, that little weird guy that was investigated over and over, couldn't find a single thing to hammer them on. Couldn't find a single thing. The Republicans just have no principles. They don't care about any of these things. They have fake tantrums and cry in order to fool their voters to feel the same way. And because we're talking about Republican voters here, I don't know a nice way to say it. They fall for it each and every time. And honestly, this is my real view of why Republicans find it so important to keep attacking education, keep attacking professors. Because this is what you get. A huge amount of the public with no critical thinking skills and just easy to F over. They're easily fooled, easily angered, don't look anything up, just repeat whatever one of their dear leaders have told them. It's really embarrassing.
I think that's a real issue here. I mean, it's billions of dollars.
The reason the crypto is worse than the plane is that the federal government is directly involved in regulating cryptocurrencies. And so there are laws that can be changed that will benefit crypto, and Donald Trump's family wealth is tied up in that. The numbers are very large. So the UAE's Sovereign Wealth Fund just invested $2 billion in Binance, which is a crypto exchange. And they did that using the Trump stablecoin, which is called OneUSD. That overnight propelled it from being a pretty obscure stablecoin. I know these terms are kind of weird, but a pretty obscure stablecoin to one of the biggest in the world. So the numbers here are really big.
You mean like the congressional members that regulate industry and trade on the stocks that they're regulating?
Well, part of it is
make money on the
exactly.
How many members
say
of Congress are worth over $50 million and they're worth nothing going in?
You're totally right. Like that is a real issue. The scale that we are discussing right now is absolutely not in the same stratosphere.
And Republicans were correct to be upset that Hunter Biden was on the board of Burisma, has paid a lot of money for this. That was right. This is that, like, 100x, and partisanship has just broken people's brains, to your point. And so when your own side does it, you defend it. But this is on a scale that we haven't seen before in America.
All right, we gotta leave it there. John Prideaux, thank you.
I think it's even ridiculous for Republicans to be pissed. Like, what could Joe Biden do about Hunter Biden getting a board position? He can't control that. If his son wants to trade on this, he cannot control that. But anyways, the level of greed with the super rich and people like Trump is just so... honestly, just so vile. Again, only a Republican voter could see this and say, nothing wrong with that. Tariffs for me, jets for them. That's fine. Tax cuts for the rich. Yeah. Maybe one day they'll give us a little drop of that wealth, right? Trickle down economics, right, Republicans? It's just like when it comes to Republicans, I hope the Democrats, the party, understands that they just don't care much. They just hate the other side so much. It really comes down to, it's all about that. Find anything that the left is for, and the right wing will be there crying and screaming to do the opposite. No matter how obviously it could help even them, they will go against it because they see the other side is for it or doesn't want it. This is truly the model they live by. It's so humiliating to have such a huge amount of the population who is just so damn weak, pathetic, and just so, the big ones for me, it's just so easily fooled. Like, stand up for yourselves, learn something, read something, look something up. When one of these right-wing pundits are telling you something, stop embarrassing yourself. Stop letting Republicans walk all over you. I thought your mommies called you alphas before tucking you into bed. What happened? But I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. And I'm glad they made another story about this. I'm actually going to make another story about the white Afrikaners that Trump is trying to have them come over here. It's unbelievable. And CNN made another story about that, and I'm glad they did. These type of stories should get pounded on because it's so obvious who this party is. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Please leave a like, subscribe. Really helps the channel. Really helps push the message out there. And I'll catch you in the next one.